Okay, get yourself ready, sit yourself on the lift and there. Come into a good cross-legged position. So just have a little wriggle about, make sure you feel evenly positioned on your seat bones. So if you're using one of these kind of prayer cushions, it's like a bean bag, and it's really good because it helps you to level yourself out. Sometimes it's useful to just roll over and move the buttock flesh out of the way. Just find that moment and that position of perfect equilibrium at the hips, at the feet, so that the base of the body feels evenly connected with the ground. Just hold onto your knees and elevate your heart area up to the ceiling. So you draw in the heart area upwards, and you're drawing your shoulders down. Just look down at the floor, look at something that isn't moving. Consciously soften your jaw and your tongue and your throat. Just listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. If after a few moments you realise that maybe you're not level after all, just adjust. Adjust until you do find levelness. And sometimes that can take a few moments to really address it. So draw your concentration into the seat bones, into the feet, into the torso, so that you can feel the outcome of that evenness at the seat bones. Fill your lungs from the bottom to the top and empty them from the top to the bottom. Look at something that doesn't move. So that your eyes are still in the sockets. And if you can, consciously still your eyes, then the mind becomes quieter. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste, press the palms firmly together. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Focus in on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to generate A genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area, releasing the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Just connect the tip of the index finger with the tip of the thumb, just a gesture of wisdom and intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry through with us into our practice as an intention. And release your head, raise your head, and allow your eyes to softly open. So just go back for a moment to the balance of the seat bones. Just feeling that you're really precisely perched on both seat bones evenly, and that you can roll onto the front edge of the seat bones, drawing the belly button towards the spine, and really lifting the heart area up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down. So hold on to your knees and elevate the heart area even higher. Take a deep inhalation, and with an exhalation, turn to the right side. Maintain your attention in the seat bones. Maintain your attention in the seat bones, drawing your abdomen across and your ribs and your shoulders across. Maintaining that levelness at the seat bones. Just keeping the head and the neck just looking forwards, not over the shoulder, just looking forwards with your chin in line with your chest. And using each exhalation to just intensify the turn. Come back to the center. Again, hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down so that your neck becomes long. Just go back to the balance of the seat bones, adjusting if necessary, and then turn to the left, maintaining that balance. So as you turn, does your weight roll over onto your left seat bone? Just let that happen. Just bring the torso over to the left so you can feel that the weight changes. And then adjust the torso so that it's between the two hips so that you can regain that balance. And then come back to the center. Come off your lift and down onto your seat bones. Just sit back on your heels for a moment. Just sit back on your heels, wriggle into your heels, and again just aim for a sensation of levelness at the seat bones, at the shins. Feel that both shins connect to the ground evenly. So let the legs passively connect to the ground. Just letting the kind of force of gravity draw the shins down into the ground. So doing that passively without consciously activating anything. Just make sure that you feel like you are sitting evenly. Adjust if you don't. So just letting the legs passively sink into the ground at this stage. Lift up into the heart area. And then consciously press the shin bone into the shin skin. So it's almost like you lift up off the floor, the thighs become activated, and you can elevate the heart area consciously upwards. But keep the seat bones down on the heels, and keep those seat bones down on the heels as you come forwards. Walking your hands forwards. And then stretching your arms away. Aiming to maintain that connection with the seat bones, that connection with the shins. And bring the forehead down, stretching the tailbone down towards the floor. Just listen to the breath. Long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, and then release your arms. Bring your arms to the sides of the body. So the tops of the hands are on the floor. It might become heavy on your head. So lengthen consciously from your shoulders into your fingertips. Try and keep the seat bones down. Maybe hold on to your legs. Try and draw your seat bones down to the floor. Let the shoulders relax for a moment. Let the shoulder blades broaden. And then stretch your arms out again. Lengthening into the fingertips, into the palms, keeping the arms straight. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Listening to the breath. Lift your head, but keep your hands where they are. Keep your right hand where it is. Thread the left arm underneath the right armpit. Bring that left elbow down onto the floor. You'll probably lose contact between the seat bones and the heels. Just try and maintain it if you can. Keep that right arm really firmly activated as though you're doing Adho Mukha Virasana. Press the left arm firmly into the floor, so that you start to open up the shoulder blade region. Keep both arms really activating, but push that left arm firmly into the floor. Let your head come down to the floor, and then roll the chest down to face the floor. And then release, come back into Adho Mukha Virasana with both arms out, stretched. And then lift your head. Keep your left hand where it is. Spread the right arm underneath the left armpit. Try and bring the shoulder down onto the floor of that right side. Bring the head down. Keep that left arm activating as though you're doing Adho Mukha Virasana. Keep that right hand really pressing firmly into the floor, like you want to push it through the floor. And then roll the chest down to face the floor, really opening up in the fronts of the shoulders. So threading the needle. And then release. And then come back into Adho Mukha Virasana. Just breathing even, deep inhalations and exhalations. Come up onto all fours, turn your toes under, have your hands and your feet as wide apart as your mat, and then come up into dog down. Lifting the kneecaps, lifting the thighs, lifting the tailbone, lifting the seat bones. If you struggle to lift the tailbone and the seat bones, then bend your knees first, and then scoop the tailbone and the seat bones up towards the ceiling. And then re-straighten your legs. Turn the fronts of your thighs inwards. Keep the palms pressing into the floor, not just relying on the heels of the hands to bear the weight. Listen to the breath. Long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. And then step your feet forwards. Just come up into a standing position. And then get a couple of blocks for your hands for half uttanasana. Bring your feet as wide apart as your mat. Turn your toes inwards. So have your hands on your hips, lift up into the chest. And then raise your arms up, have your arms wide. Listen to the breath. Feel that you can really lift the chest to the ceiling, but don't lose the legs. Keep the feet firmly placed on the ground. Lift the shins out of the ankles. Lift the kneecaps up away from the shins. Lift the thighs away from the kneecaps. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Keep the arms outstretched if you can. Otherwise, bring your hands onto your hips. Hinge at the hips. Keeping your legs straight. And then reach down and find the blocks. Have the blocks underneath your shoulders. So in half uttanasana, just be in the pose, observing it from the inside. Just observe how the legs are working. Are they working evenly? Is there weight in your heels or in your toes? Bring your weight back into your heels, so hit your shins back. Lift the seat bones away from the heels, projecting the chin and the chest forwards. If you can go down lower, then do. If you've got a bad back, then perhaps stay at the higher lift. Just feel what your back is capable of and don't push it. If you can go down to the floor with your hands, then do. But stay on fingertips, which is a lift in action. Heels of the hands are drop in action. So keeping the legs straight, hitting the legs back, projecting the chin and the chest forwards. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. If you can, keep the front chest long, reach around the backs of the heels and draw your body through the gap between the legs. But keeping the back straight, keeping the head lifted. And then release your hands, just come back to the center. And then bring your hands into your hips. Bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into Tadasana. So just be in Tadasana. Have the inner edge of the feet together. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Have the big toes touching, have the heels touching, and stretch upwards with the upper torso. So the inner edge of the feet are together, lifted up into the chest in Tadasana. Just feel how you've activated your legs through the limbering poses. Maybe your attention is in your legs already. Observe the evenness of action in the kneecaps. Allow the breath to be soft. Keeping the breath smooth. Listening to the sound of the breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Bring your arms forwards, but try not to disturb the chest. Try not to push the chest forwards. Keep the torso in line with the legs. Turn the palms all the way out. And as you turn the palms all the way out so that the palms face outwards, feel that you can rotate the upper arms in the sockets. And then continue to do so. Continue to rotate those upper arms in the sockets, getting the palms to face up to the ceiling, and then reach behind you, bend the arms, bring the fingertips together, and then work the fingertips up towards your neck. So at first it will just look like this. So once you've got your fingertips together, if you can't do this, then you can just get hold of the opposite elbow. Then I want you to draw your elbows back like this. So draw the elbows to the wall behind you. And then lengthen from the shoulders into the elbows. And from the elbows into the heels of the hands, so that the palms come flat. And then lift up into the chest. Namaskarasana. Draw the belly button towards the spine, tuck the tailbone in to protect the lumbar. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Tuck in the tailbone in. Breathing even and deep exhalations, inhalations, and then release your arms. Spread the fingers, resist the temptation to shake them. Spread the fingers so that the palms suddenly, maybe they feel a little wider, a little bigger than usual. So just spread the fingers, feel your attention maintaining in the legs, but drawing into the hands, really spreading the fingers, spreading the bones of the hands. Stretch your arms forwards, interlock the fingers into the webbing of the hands, turn the palms of the hands all the way out. And then raise your arms up for asana. Again, just be conscious of your position. Conscious of the action of the legs. Squeezing the outer elbows inwards, pushing the palms up to the ceiling. And then release. Just look at the interlock of your fingers and then do the unnatural interlock. Swap the other index finger for the top of the stack and interlock the fingers right into the webbing of the hands. Turn the palms all the way out and again raise your arms up to the ceiling. Maintaining your mental connection to the legs, to the feet, hitting the shins back so that your weight is in your heels, tightening the kneecaps, turning the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards, tucking the tailbone in, drawing the abdomen to the spine, lifting the heart area to the ceiling, squeezing the outer elbows in. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Try and wing your arms beyond your ears without pushing the chest forwards. And then gently release your arms, will unhook the fingers, and then again spread the fingers, spread the palms. Just feel how much energy you have in the hands. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump your feet nice and wide. Turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out. And then bring your attention back into your feet. So when you turn these legs out, turn the inner thighs outwards, does all of your weight suddenly land on this front leg? Or can you lengthen from the hips down into the feet, from the feet up into the hips, on both legs evenly, and then maintain that consciousness of the back leg as you come down into trikonasana. So try not to let that front foot become really heavy on the mat. Really activate from the hip down into the heel of that back leg. Turning the chest and the abdomen up to the ceiling. Squeezing the front leg, buttock bone forwards, hitting the back leg towards the wall behind you. Look up, breathing in and out through the nose if you can. And you'll notice that the sinus is clear. Come back to the center. Swap the feet around, turn the right toes in. And the left leg and foot all the way out. And then again go back to the feet. Do they feel evenly placed? Turn the fronts of the thighs from the big toe side to the little toe side. And then keep that back leg firmly activated as you reach down. Turning the chest to the ceiling, looking up. If you can, breathe in and out through the nose. As you remain in the pose, observe how the sinus is clear. Come back to the center, bring the feet parallel, and then step or jump the feet back together. And then come back into uttanasana. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths. And then bring your feet hip width apart, turn your toes in. If you've got a bad back, then you're not going to go all the way down. You can just bring your elbows onto a chair like this, or onto the back of a chair, or onto the top of a table, just come halfway. Otherwise, raise your arms up, hook the thumb into the crease of the opposite elbow, wrap your fingers around your elbows. Feel that you're activating your legs, and then hinge at the hips. Come forwards, hinging at the hips, lifting those seat bones up towards the ceiling. Let the body hang down. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Just maintaining your attention in the limbs. Observing your level of effort in the legs, observing your weight in your feet, just aiming to find that equilibrium, that internal balance of action. So the more determinedly you activate your legs, the more you can release in the spine and hang down. But it has to start in the legs. And then release your hands down to the floor. Just come into half uttanasana momentarily. Bring your hands onto your shins if you can't reach the floor. And then bring your hands into your hips. Bend your knees on the way up if you need to. And then come up into a standing position. Bring your feet together and then just observe your uttanasana. Aiming to maintain the balance of internal action. From the feet into the shins, into the knees, into the thighs. Tuck in the tailbone in. Drawing the abdomen to the spine. Lifting up into the heart area, lengthening your shoulders down to the floor, lengthening into the fingertips. Lengthening the neck out of the shoulders and into the head. And then gently release. And then just come down onto your back and come down into supta baddha konasana. So come down onto your back, have the soles of the feet together, close to the seat bones, let the knees fall apart. You can put blocks underneath your thighs if there's discomfort in your hips. Press the heels really consciously together. Press the center of the heel consciously together. Observe that the outside edge of the feet make good contact while the insteps lengthen away from each other. That instep lengthening action can then extend into the inner calf, drawing up into the inner knee, and then the inner knee around to the outer knee. Try not to clench the buttocks if you can avoid it. Inner to the outer knee, and then the outer knee into the hips, the outer knee into the outer heels, outer feet. Keep the abdomen just drawing towards the spine so that you flatten out the lumbar. Stretch your arms to the ceiling, interlock the fingers right into the web inner, the hands turn, your palms all the way out. And then lengthen your arms along the floor. Soften the jaw and the tongue and the throat. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Keep your arms actively extending away, keeping the outer elbows drawing in towards each other. And then raise your arms. Just swap the interlock of the finger so that the other index finger is on the top of the stack. Turn the palms all the way out. And then again, extend your arms along the floor. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Keeping the arms activated, the legs activated. Try and keep the glutes soft if you can. The buttock muscles, keep them soft if you can. Turn the tailbone in, lengthening the sacrum. Turn the tailbone to the ceiling a little, so that your lumbar becomes flat in the floor. And then release your arms, release the hands, and then just rest your hands on your lower ribs. Let the legs relax a little. And then just feel how, as you inhale, the chest expands upwards and outwards. And as you exhale, the chest relaxes, especially the lower ribs. As you inhale, the abdomen naturally rises up away from the spine to accommodate the breath. And as you exhale, the abdomen draws closer to the spine to accommodate the exhalation. And then very gently draw your knees together, and then just have your knees together and your feet apart for a moment, just resting out the hips. Just breathing even and deep inhalations and exhalations, letting the hips recover. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. Just a gentle massage on the spine. And then gently roll over onto your right side. And then straighten out your top leg. Come back up into a seated position. And then come into cross legs. Come into cross legs, holding your knees, lifting up into your chest, elevating the heart area upwards, just feeling the levelness of the seat bones. If you need to sit on a lift, then do. If you struggle to lift the chest in cross legs, then sit on a lift. If your knees are really high, then sit on a lift. Otherwise, just sitting directly on the floor in half padmasana or cross legs, swastikasana. If you've got a bad back, just stay at this stage, just finding your balance with the seat bones. If you don't, then lift the abdomen up towards the diaphragm region and gently come forwards, keeping the head lifted. Keeping the head lifted. If you've got a couple of blocks handy, then you can have some blocks for your hands, or you can just have your hands on the floor, walking your hands away from the knees. Try and keep the tailbone down on the floor. Easier said than done, isn't it? But lengthen the tailbone down to the floor. Breathe even, deep inhalations and exhalations. keeping the head lifted. And then just walk your hands back and come back into swastikasana or half padmasana, just finding that levelness at the seat bones. Just swap however you are crossing your legs, so just do the unnatural crossing of the legs, just swapping them around, and then just notice that immediately perhaps you feel like you have to adjust the seat bones to accommodate the different leg position. It will feel unnatural. So spend a moment or two just observing the seat bones, observing how they connect to the ground. And then lift up and out of the seat bones. And then again, stay here if you've got a bad back. Otherwise, lift the abdomen consciously up to the diaphragm region. Keep the head lifted. And then just a little at a time, come forwards. Hinging at the hips, keeping the back straight. Reach forwards, have the blocks under your hands if you need them, or just walk your hands along the floor. Be on fingertips on the floor. And then that just helps you to kind of activate the shoulders a little more openly. Again, lengthening the tailbone down to the floor. Stretching forwards, keeping the head lifted. We're not trying to bring the head to the floor, we're trying to bring the chest to the floor. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then gently come back to the center, just again find that levelness. So Ian, I can see that this way is less comfortable, I think, isn't it? It looks less natural for your legs. So your right knee is higher than the left knee. I think that's your injured knee, isn't it? So lift up into the chest. Just feel that you can bring levelness to the seat bones. You can bring blocks onto the outsides of the thighs to support the hips or the knees if you need to. Elevate the heart area up to the ceiling. And then turn to the right side. So again, you can put blocks on the outsides of the thighs if you need to support the hips or the knees. Drawing your abdomen from the left to the right. And then come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, and then turn around to the left. And then come back to the center. Just get a blanket where you can reach it. You'll need that in a moment. Come down to your back. Just come down flat onto the floor. Pull your knees in towards your chest. And then hold onto the edges of the mat like you're going to tear the mat apart. So hold onto the edges of the mat. Draw the crease of the elbows to face the ceiling and out to the sides. and then stretch your legs up in viparita karanhi, but keeping the arms and the spine really firmly activated. Just feel how the back connects to the ground as you reach the legs up to the ceiling. You can always put a lift like a block or a folded blanket underneath the sacrum spine if you struggle to straighten your legs. So the sacrum is just above the tailbone. So you can lift that area if you struggle to straighten your legs. So viparita karanhi is just a gentle inversion. Really work to find that balance of action on the inside, from the arms, from the shoulders, into the spine, into the legs. Soft, deep inhalations and exhalations. Keeping the arms activated, keeping the shoulders activated. Gives you much better ability to keep the legs lifted if you activate the upper body. Just like in Ardha, uttanasana, if you activate the legs, it's more easy to activate the spine. Okay, bend your knees, bring your feet back down onto the floor. Get a blanket, a folded blanket underneath your head and your neck, just making sure that it feels even and level underneath your neck, and then stretch your legs out. Just momentarily come up onto your elbows, just make sure you're in a really good straight line right down the center of the mat. And then bring your head and your neck down onto the blanket and let the body relax into the ground. Just breathe even, deep inhalations and exhalations. Allow the body to become heavy on the ground by completely releasing the muscles of the arms and the legs. Unhooking the muscles of the arms and the legs. And then out of that heaviness, perhaps you perceive a sensation of energetic lightness that radiates from the bones and into the muscles. Into the organs. To the flesh and the skin. Draw your breath in through your nose, down into the toes, into the fingers, and into the top of the head. Just distributing that feeling of energetic lightness evenly. To disturb yourself, just gently wriggle the toes, wriggle your fingers, just bring yourself back into the pose of sirvasana. Bend your knees, bring your knees in toward your chest, just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just a gentle massage on the spine. And then gently roll over onto your right side. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in the masti. Sorry, with your hands on your knees for a moment, lifting up into the chest, then bringing the hand into the masti, just finding, again, that levelness at the seat bones. Filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. Emptying your lungs from the top to the bottom. Draw your breath in through your nose, down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists and the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created in the heart area, and then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy from the inside and you've given yourself lots of good, positive energy to put into your day. Thank you very much for joining me.